Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily High with your host, Matt McGregor and Tone Vase. Good morning, Tone. How are you, mate?
Excellent, excellent. The price is in a very interesting place. I think it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, I think the price is at an interesting place. Absolutely. I'm sorry for missing yesterday's episode, but it can't be helped. Why don't we continue the tradition and of me going quickly first and then hearing what you have to say thereafter? Look, this is the weekly candle is still that's a false candle. Obviously, that should be read from there. But I really like the retracement that we had throughout the week. It's been a buy the dip week for me. I've been saying it, all week. That call back down to the 7 simple moving average, almost in that vicinity. But the fact that we didn't even get it is absolutely brilliant. The show I did on Wednesday, had just exactly touched on this descending channel breakout, and I said that wasn't enough for me. I wanted something more. I was happy if that was the recovery. I was totally fine with it, but I wasn't convinced that was enough. And then later on that day, the day after that followed it, we did come down a little bit lower and almost got to this simple moving averages here. This moving average of the 730 cluster. That might have been it. That for me looks much better than just simply this arbitrary line that I drew in on one show that meant nothing. I'll get rid of that next week. It just meant nothing to me. That means a lot more to me that we've recovered from here. With 2.5 days left in this week, there's a real chance that this candle actually finishes green. And I think that there's a high possibility. I know the weekend doesn't normally produce as much volume, but I think that by the time we do this show Monday morning, and we might have had that Monday morning pump that we get into the candle close. I'm talking about Japan, Asian time right now, but we get that pump in the morning. I think that this might close green, and would be really fantastic. But it doesn't matter if it doesn't. I like where we sit right now. The oscillators look absolutely fine. Nothing to speak about here on the weekly time frame. How many days left have we got in the month here, Tony? I think this is 25th today. Is that right? 25th.
Yeah, I got the month ends on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, it does. So we'll talk about the monthly close as we get into next week. The daily time frame I really like. We're at the top of it now. I'd love us to close, in this vicinity, or even if we can get really up higher and get to that 69 point would be really fantastic. For tomorrow's MRI count would be absolutely brilliant. This is a really good retracement. If I'd love us to finish that week strong. Daily time frame, nothing else to say. I really like where it stands right now. 4 hour time frame. Let's have a gander. Great. Absolutely great. Same thing I was saying before. I really wanted us to get, I said that on Wednesday's show that when we came down and we touched here, and it was right here when we did the show, we were pulling up here. I said that's not enough for me. I'd love us to get down to the green wave to get a buy here. The fact that it didn't, it doesn't is even better for me that it didn't. It just means that we got great strength in the market. We came up, looks like an MRI top, but it didn't get there. 1 to 4 candle. I still consider this kind of like an MRI pattern, even though it didn't reach its full measure. The fact that we got all the way up 7, 8, had the 1 to 4 correction, that's still the same. I look at that as the same thing, right? That's a absolutely great. Looks like we're about to break out right now on the 4 hour time frame. Brilliant. Nothing else to say. The On the 15-minute time frame, just to finish off, BangBox has had a really interesting little interesting day yesterday. It had two trades in the same day, one good, one bad. Let's have a look at that. We had a terrible trade, which is like the worst case scenario that we would have on a BangBox trade, which is that we entered the trade, it came out and stopped us out here after it's closed out here. It's about an 8% loss. Awful. But I mean, the fact is it stopped out here. That triggered it when the candle closed in that vicinity there. But then we were able to re-enter the trade and came out at about an 8% win. The day was down overall because of the fees, the trading fees that were in it, but it became negligible that we had that great recovery thereafter. It probably was a 4% loss on the day. Not good, but I'm really proud that it recovered here. And we are back in line now to get back in again. We came back down, closed below the 128 period moving average, and it's locked and loaded. We're maybe minutes away from entering a trade, if not 20, 30 minutes away from entering a trade, if this continues to have its great recovery that it is right now. Speaking of which, there's a fantastic video here on the Financial Summit Network on how to set up the trading bot on Blowfin. There's one on BitGet too. Fantastic. Look at that. It's 5 minute tutorial. Absolutely simple. Great deposit bonuses right now we have on Blowfin. Why not? Why not join? If you're just interested in looking at it, join the Discord group. The links are in the description below. Like and subscribe. Thanks, Tone. What do you got for us, mate, to end the week with? End the week strongly. Turn your mic on. Jesus. 27 years on YouTube. I'll just do a little dance for a second. Get the crowd going on a Friday night.
Are we working again?
Yeah, loud and clear, mate.
All right, my mic died. I had to like plug it in, and it's a good thing that it works while plugged in.
That's a bad mic, though. That's not the clearest mic we've ever heard.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm using the right mic now. No, I am. Okay, are we okay with the mic?
Just say something else so we can hear it.
Okay. All right. Well, the live chat will let
Yep.
you know.
No,
My
no, we're
situation.
good. We're good. We're
Okay.
good.
We're good. Okay. And I'm going straight to the traditional markets here. We are dealing with that 10 a.m. reversal. Notice how every single candle this morning on a beautiful pop to the upside. Every single candle has a higher low. It may not always have a higher high, but every candle has a higher low. This is absolutely incredible. And this sets up a perfect short opportunity, which I would take right now.
Let's do it.
Okay. Absolutely perfect because we have not crossed a single low. I may be going in a little prematurely here, but we've gone 10 minutes past the 10 a.m. candle, and now we're getting weakness. I don't care that it's an MRI top, but it's interesting that it's an MRI top because the day started with a one candle, and bam, we reached the MRI top on a 5 minute candle. So you're entering your short, and the reason why I really like this short is because look how tiny your risk is. Your risk was from the start. And this is what I mean about entering, a trade perfectly. And then you're in a trade instantly into the profit. And my risk was only probably about 2 points, maybe at most. 2.5. 2.5 risk. And we're already in profit for 3, right? So
Would
I
you,
am
would you, would
already.
you, if you see sorry to cut you off, Tone. I
Yeah,
apologize, but I'm
yeah.
so interested. Would you have put on a larger size if you saw this setup, especially on a Friday?
No, because it's a Friday, I would not put on a larger size, but what I would do is I would potentially add to that trade once it starts going in my favor, right? So, I entered this trade prematurely because no candle has ever crossed the prior candle's low, but this candle did after I crossed it. So once it crosses the prior candle's low, now I'm even more confident that I was correct. And this is where I would potentially add to that trade, but initially I would not. Initially, I'm just, it's kind of like the opposite of a knife catch. Either way, I'm already looking to drop my stop loss to the top of that candle. And right now, if we cross the bottom of this candle one more time, I would double down on that trade. So right now, I'm doubling down on my initial trade. So I didn't go big early, but I went big once I got confirmed that I made the right choice. Okay? And now I'm setting, the break-even stop loss has suddenly become lower than
Yeah.
originally planned, but I'm already setting my stop loss just above my first entry. So let's assume my actual entry is now somewhere in between. Though I may not have doubled down because it's a Friday.
Well, let's say you did, for argument's sake, and
Let's say I did for argument's sake, and now my stop loss would be at the top of that body. Because if the candle goes back to the top of the body, that means that the market is stronger. But because we made new lows, I'm actually pretty confident that this is going to be a bigger pullback. I also want to zoom out to the daily and see how big of a day this was. So today's candle is up 45 points on the S&P. That is ridiculous. It's 45 points. That includes the gap. If we exclude the gap, the candle is up 30 points for the day. I will take this trade every time to the opposite side. It doesn't mean we're not going to close at new all-time highs. It just means that there's no way if the stock market continued like this, everyone would be a billionaire, basically. Like it's got to pull back. So this is what makes me really confident in a trade like this. We've now had I can't see anything now because of my own lines, but we now had a candle that made a new swing low, and yeah, and we almost made a newer swing low. So I do think these tops are going to stick around for a little bit, and that's why I'm happy with the trade. Like I said, if I did not uh, add to that trade, my initial would have been right here. Now it's back to break even. I already think it's taking too much time to get to, the promised land here, but we'll leave it as is. And the stop loss is going to be super tight because it is Friday. I don't even like trading on Fridays, but let's see where that goes. Let's go back to Bitcoin now. So Bitcoin was you can see Bitcoin stopped in its tracks as well. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I saw a red candle. It was probably the weekly candle. Yeah, so Bitcoin's still rising. Okay, so that's good. So we are now approaching a place where I exited my leverage trade, and decisions need to be made. The weekly candle looks fine. It's a consolidated candle, not really much to say. The allocation should be 100% long, but I'm holding out because of the election that's coming in 10 days. I really don't want to add to my position because I'm expecting massive volatility during the election, including some more downside. So far, this is playing out exactly as I expected, but we are so close to breaking out. We actually went up a little bit further than I expected. I did not expect us to get above 68. I thought 68 was going to be resistance. And worst case scenario, 65, 68 and a half was going to be resistance. We went a little further than that. So here's where, I guess concern is the wrong word, but here's where I began to reconsider the possibility of new lows. And the moment this happened, I posted a screenshot in my Telegram groups where this green star candle on the hourly chart last night at 3 p.m. got me back to being almost 100% bullish on the pullback. So this, I would have been a big buyer, as I said in yesterday's video. I was going to be a big buyer if this continued to drop a little longer and gave me a 4-hour MRI buy. A little later, like basically this morning, a 4-hour MRI buy below 65. I'm trying to catch that falling knife and I'm trying to buy the dip. But it reversed a little bit early. And I wasn't on top of the trade because it was happening late in the day. And then it starts to break out late in the day last night. And I was so close to pulling the trigger on my portfolio and going either 100% long or even leverage long.
Well, it did get into the box that you were speaking about all week, to be honest.
It did get into that box, but I didn't have enough. I mean, like the box is more general.
Right.
I didn't have enough inside this box for me to try to catch the dip. I was hoping to catch it in the box, way closer to the election or after the election. The moment we start breaking 68,000 last night, I become very, very bullish. But with 1 hour to go in the market, and rallying so far from, that 65,000 that it got to, I decided to hold off. We did go higher, almost hit 69, pulled back, got a 1 hour MRI buy in the middle of the night. Obviously, I didn't see that. I was asleep. And right now, this is making me very, very bullish. I might not be able to hold out, and I may be entering back into either a leverage long or a 100% long. in my portfolio once I get off the stream because the 10 a.m. reversal doesn't seem to be reversing the price. And based on how Bitcoin is rallying, I am convinced that my S&P mock trade would be exited right now with break-even stop. No, it's still alive. It's still hanging in there. It's still hanging in there. But let's assume, yep, it's still hanging in there. It may still reverse. I'm still okay on the trade. I'm not panicking here yet. So let's see how that goes, how that continues to go. Um, we can even do a 1 minute chart here. Yeah, that's a little cleaner. There we go. Yeah, but it looks like it will. On a 1 minute chart, where would I put that stop loss? I'm going to give this a little more headroom. I'm going to put it right there. I'm not removing the stop loss. I'm not breaking Tone's rule number 2. I'm just slightly adjusting it to give myself to give myself a little more patience. Okay. Now, man, so this is a winded way of saying we are on the edge of a breakout. I still think there's going to be volatility and probably a lower low than the 65 low before the election or the day of the election. I just think it's not going to be this easy, but I also can't deny the fact that there's a possibility we're sitting at 75,000 going into the election, right?
Yeah.
And the probability that we're at 75,000 going into the election is a hell of a lot higher than below 60 going into the election. So if we continue to stay up here at 68 and a half for another hour or two or higher, I'm not going to want to go into this weekend without full allocation, right? It's almost too risky not to be invested in Bitcoin. And as you can see by the ETF inflows, even though this week has been a troublesome week, look at the inflows. Look at these massive inflows. We have 4,500, 2,500, and 3,000, and then one day where we only lost 1,000 Bitcoin. And it looks like ARK was the main majority of that. It looks like people are exiting the ARK Invest. It's struggling to get over 50,000 Bitcoin. And BlackRock is already at 400,000 Bitcoin. After today, BlackRock will be over 400,000 Bitcoin, which
It's
is
like
completely insane.
it's like 8,000 Bitcoin bought this week, something like that, right?
Yeah. And I don't have my numbers completely updated, but you can see we are approaching 1 million Bitcoin held. Probably by end of this year, it will be 1 million Bitcoin held by just the American ETFs. And that's in this year. By the end of next year, it could be 3 million Bitcoin held in these ETFs.
Yeah.
Like there's not that much Bitcoin going to go around. There's a limit here.
There's a limit. That's it. That's your ticking time bomb to get in on this thing.
Yeah, so I am now back to pretty much being bullish on Bitcoin here. The 4-hour chart, I really wanted an MRI buy. We haven't had one since mid-September, and it looks like we're going to end October without getting an MRI buy. All right, I don't have much else. Gold is still toppy. I would be out of gold. Gold is on a weekly MRI top coming in on Sunday night. There'll be an MRI top arrow here, no matter what. And here's the S&P. Yep, the S&P broke out. That's why we set stop losses.
Yep.
The S&P broke out. I saw it by the price of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin continued going higher, if I put a 5-minute chart on Bitcoin, but I will take that trade every time. If it goes up like that, I will definitely take that trade every time. Had I not added to that trade, like Matt and I discussed, I would have been out completely break even. But in that case, I did take a little bit of a loss on that trade. But based on the fact that Bitcoin did not budge at 10 a.m., Bitcoin started to pull back at 8 a.m. Here's the 840 candle, 950, sorry, the 940, 950, 10 a.m. candle right here. And there's the 1010 and there's the 1020. Based on how Bitcoin was performing, remember, they're both speculative assets. Bitcoin is just, it shows you the mentality of traders trading risky assets like Bitcoin, like stocks. when I did not see Bitcoin pull back at all during the 10 a.m. reversal, even though the S&P was, I actually became less bearish on the S&P because it means that risky traders are continuing to be very, very bullish. And man, if we get a new hourly high close, I think this is going to be an awesome Friday, especially with the stock market rallying the way it is. Just made a new high. Let me see on the daily S&P, how close are we to an all-time high? We can get it today. This could be a day for the ages, guys. I was right on the pullback off the MRI top. Clearly didn't last this long. I thought it would last closer into the election, but I got my location right, I got the price right, and it was just a 1 to 4 candle correction. I mean, this is over. To me, the market is just bullish again. I mean, look, we're not that far from an all-time high. All we got to do is go like 2% more up on the S&P, and that's it. Not even 2, quarter of a percent, or am I saying 2%? A quarter of a percent higher, just like 30 more points. This is completely, I mean, insane. But hey, I've been bullish on the stock market forever. I've been saying we're gonna reach the top of this channel, and then the real breakout comes. This has been my expectation of stock market, and I don't care what the gloom and doomers think, because I think the S&P is going to go to 12,000 before any crash that comes. Completely nuts. So that's pretty much it for me, man. Not much
Yeah.
else to say.
No, I
And
think BangBox is probably 3 minutes away from entering a trade here, unless we have a
let's
correction.
see it. Let's see it. Let's see it enter. I'm gonna drop
Well,
screenshot.
it's 3 minutes. You know, what are you gonna do for 3 minutes? But that's a lifetime in this world. I don't. If the price drops a little bit, it'll be 15 minutes later. So we'll see. It could be longer.
I'm gonna glance at some of the oscillators because I haven't looked at them in forever. This should be my daily chart actually. On the daily chart, the MACD remains bullish.
Yeah, sure does.
The what do we got on?
How about
You
the
know,
bit money rate? What are we looking there?
this is RSI. It's still very bullish to me.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a general higher
good.
lows, and
Great.
we
Looks great.
haven't. Yeah, I mean, we technically went overbought, but it's nothing that Bitcoin hasn't experienced, and I think we're gonna go higher here on the RSI as well. And the CMF is just looks amazing. I want to go look at the weekly CMF. The weekly CMF looks really good. I mean, we're rallying like crazy on the CMF here, and the price has not gone up a crazy amount, and the CMF has. This is, man, if the CMF on the weekly can breach the new highs, I mean, we are talking $100,000 price of Bitcoin here.
Yeah,
It's, and
coming, guys.
here's your MSR. It looks great.
Yeah, EXA. Yeah, looks great.
Oh yeah, EXA. Sorry, I said the wrong indicator. EXA. It looks great. Everything looks great. I mean, we're smashing to swing highs here. Well, swing highs are technically there, but I think they're within reach. This is a good enough secondary low with the hourly. That's a 10 minutes. Sorry. We go to the hourly. That's a good enough secondary low with a beautiful reversal candle.
Yeah, sure is.
Volume could be better. Look at how the CMF just flipped. This is the hourly chart. The MACD just crossed. The
All right,
RSI is a little overbought, but it's just one indicator.
come back to me right now. We'll see what happens in
All
10
right, let's
seconds.
go back to this.
Let's have a look.
All right, we got 10 seconds before the
5, 4,
Let's see it in action. We got a
Now,
new candle. What does it
didn't
need?
it,
A new swing high?
it was so close. It was so close. It was like a cent away, $1 away. So we'll see what happens this candle. It's a funny thing because this could go down here and then it'll take time and it won't enter till up here. So we don't know what's going to happen, but it was inches away from entering the
Oh,
trade. But
so if the prior candle had closed $1 higher, it would have entered.
well, yeah, I mean, it's got a few things going in the back end, but it was very, very, very close. It's still in the cards for the next. I mean, if in 15 minutes it closes right here, it's down, right? But we'll
Right,
see
but
what
what,
happens.
what, what happens if the current 15-minute candle closes at 69 and a half?
It'll end the trade.
But when? Would it enter the trade at the end of the candle?
And the close, candle close, yeah.
Candle close, right? So because it didn't enter at the close of last 15-minute candle, it has to wait till the close of this candle.
Yeah, but if it doesn't, this candle might have a bad candle, and it won't enter that trade either.
Right, so it has to be a green candle for it to enter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's
Maybe
basically so you're basically entering this trade on current candle as long as it closes green.
if it closed right now, we would be in the trade. Yeah.
Right. So as long as it closes green, I mean like green by more than $3.
Yeah, but it's a funny thing because this could close red, and then the next one red, and then the next one green, and the next one red. It takes a while to like build back up that steam. It wants to go. We want to enter the trade, and it goes bah. Do you know what I mean? Like quite quickly. So like we'll just see what happens. I'm not gonna stick around for another 13 minutes,
Yeah.
but we're in the zone. Get on board, guys. Get on board the free trading bot we've got here. Links in the description below. Have a wonderful weekend. That's it. It's Friday night for me. I got a big game of footy tomorrow. Very focused on that. Tone, fix your effing microphone. It sounds like you're shaving your beard at the same time we're on
Oh
the show.
shit. That's
Not
not good.
not earthed or something. But guys, have a wonderful time on this weekend. Go Bitcoin. Tone, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thanks guys. And man, right now we're at 68.7. I gotta go back to my bullish trades. That's it. I think the pullback's over. As crazy as it sounds.
Are you putting your little stickers in today, or are you going to do that on Monday morning?
Uh yeah, no, I gotta do it today.
All right. Tone's long, 100% long. 100%?
Do it today. 100% long. I'm not gonna go leverage. 100% long. I can't risk the weekend and then opening up at like 74,000 on Monday. I gotta go long. Later,
Tone's
guys. I
got
gotta get to
FOMO.
that.
Everybody short. Everybody short in the chat.
Yeah, everybody's short. Yes, everybody's short. Later, guys.
You have a great weekend.